Howdy y'all, I am Ice Gold, and for today's MCSG video, because I guess we're somewhat breaking these back, just sort of on a monthly basis maybe, but today I wanted to talk about something that sort of occurred to me while I was recording Saturday's video. And in Saturday's video, I talked about how the console release has gained just a ton of popularity, and it's really, really great that it's brought all of this conversation back around Wiz, and just sort of how it's elevated the game back to where it was in like 2013, 14, something like that, like back to those numbers. And it's like, numbers like that have been unheard of for over a decade, and I'm just glad that they're back. And in Saturday's video, I talked a lot about how I hope that those numbers stick around. But there was another thing that sort of occurred to me as I was talking about that, and that was the fact that there aren't really a whole lot of online spaces directed towards kids. And I know that as an O2 baby myself, you know, Wiz came out right before my 6th birthday. I didn't start playing for another few years, but in 2011, I downloaded Wiz for the first time and really got engaged with it. Like, it was really fun, and of course I was a menu chatter because I was like I was 8 years old. I was 8 years old. Why can't I do math? I was 8.5 years old when I first downloaded Wiz. So, of course, I was still using menu chat. And that was honestly kind of perfect, you know? It's like I got to communicate with people just sort of as one does. Of course, I did later on make a text chat account, and I don't remember the details to that anymore. But, yeah, I mean, just sort of that aspect of it was like, it was an MMORPG directed towards kids. Wiz still is an MMORPG directed towards kids. And me having that as a kid, genuinely, I think, helped with my brain development. It's as crazy as that might sound, but the fact of the matter is, we are now 14 years past my experience. And I've seen a lot about how, like, kids these days, and I don't want to sound like an old man, like back in my day, you know, but kids these days don't really have any spaces dedicated towards them. It's like, not that I can think of, at least. A lot of these online spaces just on the internet, you have a lot of kids just on TikTok, on things like Instagram Reels, and of course, like, the younger ones are all watching Cocomelon, because, I mean, it's an epidemic, and I think that, you know, parents just aren't really investing in their kids' futures as much as they probably should be, and something like Wiz, I think, could help with that, like, help tremendously with that. It's like, just sort of, Wiz can be a teacher, and I think that I want this game to stay around as long as it possibly can, but I just, like, for starters, I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna have kids. I don't know if I'll, you know, do that, especially given how things have been going. You know, they found mosquitoes in Iceland last week. I'm not sure if we even have that long. But, you know, if I do end up having kids of my own someday, I think I would want them to play Wiz eventually. And, you know, play through it. At least through, like, the first arc, you know, because it's like, provided they don't rewrite the whole thing, I would really prefer it if they kept at least Crocotopia through Dragonspire intact and as is. But something like that, it's like having Wiz around. I really, really hope that Wiz just goes right back to the numbers that it used to have, like, at its peak. I think that would be. That, in all honesty, is the ideal situation, in my eyes, is having an online space that has garnered a lot of conversation, something that's popular, and something that is dedicated towards kids. Because right now, you know, I know that a lot of the player base is older. It's like, the player base these days is those same kids, just either coming back or having never quit, something like that. And that, I think, does shift the dynamic a little bit, but I just having Wiz as this space, I think, would fill the void that we see a lot of. I mean, the term iPad kids has been used to apply to kids in my generation. I mean, like, I was born in '02, so, you know, I still got to grow up a little bit before iPads and iPhones and all that hit the market, but it's like, for the kids born 3, 4, 5 plus years after me, it's kind of just been this, where it's like, iPads and the internet have sort of just been raising the kids, and it's like, rather than, it's like an iPad sort of becomes like a pacifier, in a sense. It's like, these kids will, it's like if you're ever out at like a family restaurant, or really anywhere where there's families with young kids around, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna see them with a phone in their hand, or an iPad in their hand, and I mean, you know, half the time they're going to be watching Cocomelon videos at full blast, but just, and maybe this is just like a broader societal commentary, but just the idea that like the kids of today, they need spaces where they can feel that are at least safe for them. And I think, while Wiz has had its flaws with that, with the menu chat system at least, I think it's definitely better than a lot of these other spaces. I mean, you have games like Club Penguin and Toontown that shut down years ago because of dwindling player bases and all that. And so there just wasn't really anything to replace them. It's like Wiz sort of fell off in terms of player base and player count, and other games like it in sort of that same genre, they also fell off and shut down in many cases. And so now we just have this sort of thing where it's like, I know that there's like a TikTok for kids, mostly because of the Kim and Kanye controversies that have popped up over that, but I know that there's like a TikTok for kids, I know that there's a YouTube Kids, but they just don't feel secure. We need things like family-friendly video games to fill that void for them, and just allow them to grow up without feeling the need to grow up super fast. Because that's another thing that you see. It's like, I see videos of like middle schools where kids are just acting all hard and acting like, you know, screw all authority and just being over the top disrespectful. And then it's like, I've seen videos from the teacher's point of view, and the teachers are saying like, oh, you know, the parents don't care. The parents don't, it's like they can sort of tell when they've got an iPad kid in their class. And that's been a whole scourge. It's like, that's been a whole issue. And I think that there's no real way to reform that, because from a young age, it's like these kids are getting psychologically dependent on their electronics and their iPads and their, you know, TikTok, Reels, Shorts, etc. It's like the short form content, I've said many times before, short form content is what actually rots the brain. It's like the meme genre is called brain rot for a reason. It's like, it's just stupidity that catches on for a couple weeks and then falls off. It's like that sort of thing. I do think that, you know, kids should have their own little jokes and things that are funny to them. I mean, you know, Skibbity Toilet and all that, like, that got pretty big a couple years back. But I think that there just needs to be at least a space that can't really be infiltrated, something secure. And I think Wiz just has that infrastructure. It's already built, it just needs the players. And I think, like, maybe this is like wishful thinking, but I have actually seen comments on my videos. There was one on Saturday's video. Let me just find it real fast. Somebody who I actually hadn't seen comment on my channel before, but I mean, I guess that video sort of attracted some new people. I think that's good. But they said, you know, I totally agree. My son is almost 2, and I would love for him to experience the fun and safe place I had playing while growing up. He's still a while from being able to play himself, obviously, but I want the game to stick around for years to come so he can experience it. And I think that sentiment is something that I can wholeheartedly agree with. I think things like that, just sort of having a space that is secure, it's like, but I wish it would be bigger. And I wish that, you know, Wiz, of course, being this kid's game, I wish more kids played it. It's like, it's not something you can really fix necessarily. And it is, you know, pay to play and all of that. It's like there's a lot of pay to win nonsense going on. But at the end of the day, I mean, it is still a good environment. And things like the first arc, you know, the story of Malistaire, it can be a good teacher and, you know, teach kids wrong from right. That sort of thing. And it's like respecting authority is another thing. It's like just something to sort of balance this out. And I know that if Wiz is around, if I have kids, that I will show the game to my kids and have them play it and enjoy it to the best of their ability. Like, that is something, like, I will pay the membership for that, even if the price goes up, just because it's like, that would be investing in my kids' future. Just sort of having Wiz, having something that they can also look back on and maybe come back to like I did in their own futures. And I think that, ultimately speaking, is what I want. But the main thing with it is that I just want there to be more safe spaces for kids online, because I mean, the internet, it's not going away for certain. And yeah, I mean, it's not going away, and that's something that everybody's sort of come to terms with. But making it safer is how I think we should go about it, and having spaces like Wiz, making them bigger, that I think is how we can contribute to society. So with that being said, thank y'all for watching. I've been Ice Gold. Be sure to like, subscribe, and leave like 50 comments for the algorithm. My Discord is down in the description if you want to chat with me some more, and I will see y'all later.